Welcome to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bonati alongside Ethan Youker. Exciting show to get to. Let's get started. Now, seed oils were once promoted as a healthier alternative to animal fats, but a new book seems to be debunking that myth and showing how they're actually linked to chronic inflammation, weight gain, and fatigue. Joining us to discuss is Cherie Calbom, co-author of The Truth About Seed Oils. Welcome to the show, Cherie.
Hi, thank you for inviting me to talk about a very controversial but hot topic right now. There are a lot of questions.
There certainly are. So why the shift from those traditional fats like butter and lard to these processed vegetable oils?
Well, way back, the turn of the last century, people were eating the animal fats all the time and there was no problem. But what happened at that time was the cotton industry really flourished and cotton seeds were piling up and rotting. And they were saying, what do we do with these seeds? And they came up with the idea of making oil. The oil was dark and smelly and used to lubricate machinery. And then they still had more seeds. What do we do? So let's refine it even more and make a cooking oil out of it. And rolled that out in kind of the 20s onto the market, a very highly refined oil now. And it kind of was a small market until the war when coconut oil couldn't make it through the waters. It can't make it here. So they really stepped up production. And what happened after that? Heart disease. Heart disease really jumped up. So between 1930s and 1950s, it increased over 130%. When they did autopsies, because all these people were suddenly having heart attacks, they found plaque in the arteries, of course, and in the plaque was fat and cholesterol. And that's when they blamed saturated fat.
What are some of these seed oils? Because it's a pretty wide category.
It is. So canola, soy, corn, safflower, sunflower, grapeseed oil, and cottonseed oil, rice bran, and peanut oil. Those are your seed oils that are not good for you. And let me tell you why they're not. They're heated to such high temperatures, like 500 degrees, and that causes a breakdown of the product to start with and creates toxic byproduct. But then they pour in hexane, a very toxic chemical, and on top of that, degummers, neutralizers, deodorizers, bleaching agents.
What about avocado oil? I didn't hear that one, so forgive me if you said it really quick there, but is that one healthy?
It's healthy. And let me give you the healthy oils. So besides avocado oil, olive oil, of course, it never went out of style. And coconut oil is a very, very good oil, sesame seed oil, and ghee. Some people call it oil of butter or clarified butter. But they pushed coconut oil to the side saying, oh, no, you can't have it. It's a saturated fat. And it wasn't until the early 2000s that coconut oil made its way back into mainstream America.
And how has modern food processing kind of changed the nutritional landscape?
Oh, my goodness. It has not changed it for the good, because when you industrialized food, when it's highly processed, when you have to use chemicals to extract things or chemicals to preserve, there is no way that it's going to be good for your health. And we've watched a decline in America of our health. Heart disease is still the number one killer. Cancer is number two. Diabetes is in there. All of those are linked to seed oils, but they're linked to other things as well. Sugar and chemicals, all of the preservatives in our foods. It has not been a good journey. We need to go back to our ancestral diet of whole, real foods.
There's been some current research on dietary fats and inflammation. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. So the studies are showing that there is a direct link between the seed oils and inflammation. Inflammation is at the root of every disease you could name. What I just named and so much more: obesity and fatigue, chronic fatigue syndrome, migraine headaches, Alzheimer's, and dementia. The list goes on, but inflammation is at the root of all conditions like that.
Have these seed oils been known to affect the microbiome?
Oh, yes, they have. And that is so important to preserve that. And we're now knowing how extremely important that is for health, but they do disrupt that. And so All the way around, it is so important to get seed oils out of our diet. As a nutritionist, I teach people to look at labels, read labels.
Aren't they manipulating the names, though, so maybe you don't recognize them?
They are. So often it will just say vegetable oil. There's no vegetables in the seed oils, but they're referring to seed oils when they say that.
What about restaurants? Because I would assume most of them use these seed oils too, right?
They do. In fact, there are still plenty of menus that proudly state we cook with canola oil or grapeseed oil, as though we would want that. But so many restaurants choose the seed oils because they're cheap, they're shelf stable, and it's economically feasible for them to cook with these oils.
All right. And can you just quickly tell us about that 30-day plan for people to reassess their eating habits?
I am so excited about that because so many people want to know, what do I eat now? What can I have? How do I cook? How do I put food together? So a 30-day plan helps you design and plan for your menus ahead of time. So you can breakfast, lunch, and dinner, get the seed oils out of your diet, the good oils in, and you know what starts to happen? Health starts changing. People start getting healthier because when you replace the bad oils, the faulty inferior oils with the good fats, the good oils, your body will use those right at the cellular level for its repair, rejuvenation, replenishment.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when you're finally healthy. Well, thank you so much, Cherie Calbom, co-author of The Truth About Seed Oils. This was eye-opening, at least for me, and I know I'm going to raid some cabinets and rid ourselves of this vegetable oil.
Mm-hmm. Thanks,
Good
Sherry.
for you.
Yes.
And I hope everyone listening follows suit, follows your example.
I hope so, too. We'll rein in the FDA. Maybe then they'll finally look out for the well-being of the population.
I pray. That's
All
my
right.
prayer.
Thank you so much. Well, that's all the time we have for this segment. Make sure you stay tuned. We'll have more after the break. You are watching American Medicine Today.
My headache was pretty severe all the time. My arm and shoulder, my thoracic pain. Burning, stabbing, sharp, electric, painful, on fire. It's a million different flavors of pain. Riding it out the best I could and ending up in the emergency room again and again. I was at the point where there was no longer hope, and that's usually when I come to the Bonati Institute. Yeah, it gets better. It always does. Dr. Bonati is definitely the way to go.
Shay was born with a tissue disorder that caused problems with her neck and spine and continues to progress.
I'm Shay. I'm from Alaska. I have a genetic condition called Ehlers-Danlos, so it's just a progressive disease. It's been going since I was a kid. My headache was pretty severe all the time. My arm and shoulder were awful. My thoracic pain was wrapping around. Burning, stabbing, sharp, electric, painful, constant, fleeting, insanely like something's rupturing, on fire. It's all there. Every pain that imagine has happened. It permeated everything at some point.
The debilitating pain limited Shay's movements and activities, to the point everyday life was a constant challenge.
You're not going on the 18-mile hike anymore. You're going to the beach to check out cool rocks. But normally I have to stop and wait a while, sit down, wait till I can feel like moving again. I wasn't really unsteady so much as my leg fell to sleep, you know what I mean? It was more wait to make sure your knee's not going to give out or something. Especially laying down, that had been out the window, no matter how many pillows you pile up around or under you. Stairs aren't my favorite because I live in a geodome that has 3 different levels, so I have multiple stairs. But no, the stairs are hard. My feet, especially my right foot, is pretty heavy, so.
Shay tried many forms of therapy and braces to help her deal with her pain and limited movement.
I have all sorts of different knee braces, arm braces, joint braces, shoulder tape, Kinzio tapes. That's just another layer of trying to make life functional. For the headaches, I will start with the heating pad, hot tub, TENS unit, massage, acupuncture, medicine, creams, patches, literally anything that might possibly feel any better.
Over the years, Shay has undergone many orthopedic surgeries from other physicians. As the surgeries became increasingly invasive, Shay became desperate to find true relief.
I've been to every doctor, every ER, done every treatment. And I've had discectomies, laminectomies, I've been caged, I've been plated, I have, you name it, it's been inside of me. Like, I all of it. My first thoracic surgery, they wanted to put my lungs, like, out or whatever. They wanted to put me on some, like, lung bypass thing because of where they needed to do the operation to fix the disc, the way it was pressing. And I didn't love any of that. Like, I didn't love any of that. Like, and no part of that sounded super cool to me. So we started calling people and, like, trying to figure something out and, like, let's see what's in Seattle. Let's see, you know, like, something's got to be different than this because this is insane.
In searching for an alternative treatment, Shay discovered the Bonati Spine Institute. She was delighted that Dr. Bonati was able to understand her condition and explain the procedures to get her out of pain.
When we found Bonati and Dr. Bonati doesn't do the same thing, he's not putting more metal in me, decided to give it a shot. So me and my husband came down here. It's always fun when Dr. Bonati looks over the MRIs because I get to see what the heck's going on in there. Having an actual person like Dr. Bonati read the MRIs with you, like an actual human, and not just getting a report in your file 3 weeks later. He just comes in and tells me what's wrong and what he's going to do, and then that's what happens. I feel better. Problem solved. You know, I think it's worth it thus far.
The Bonati spine procedures are performed incrementally with conscious IV sedation, where the patient remains awake and able to communicate during surgery. This helps to target the source of their pain and eliminate it while still on the operating table.
Arm, neck, or shoulder? Neck. Okay.
If you're expecting to go in and get, like, knocked out and that's what you want, this isn't it. I don't like that. I don't want to be totally unconscious. I have a hard time with anesthetic. But if you want something that's way more manageable and, like, way more realistic and not, like, nearly as, like, hard on your body, Dr. Bonati is definitely the way to go. Like, 100%.
Shay has come to trust the Bonati Spine Institute to treat the pain whenever her genetic disorder threatens her quality of life.
Oh, yeah, I definitely tell people to come here. Bonati Institute's amazing for a lot of things. You know, it helps me when I've reached the end of the rope. They're always here for me, and it always makes it a little easier to climb back up. It's definitely worth it if you just want to get better and not deal with getting better for too long. You know what I mean? Like, it's this is the place to go if you just want to feel better, be done with it.
To see more stories of recovery just like this, search for the Bonati Spine Institute on YouTube, Rumble, Apple's App Store, Google's Play Store, Roku, and Amazon's Fire TV. Welcome back to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bonati alongside Ethan Youker. Diabetes is known to cause many medical issues, from heart disease to vision problems, and a new study suggests that it could also impact memory and other cognitive functions. Joining us to discuss is returning guest Dr. Patrick Porter, award-winning author and founder of BrainTap. Thank you for joining us again, Dr. Porter.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Certainly. So tell us more about this diabetes study from, what is it, the University of Nevada?
Yeah, well, what happens is sugar is a neurotoxin. So it's disrupting signaling from the brain. It's getting in the way of those neurotransmitters that make thoughts complete, that cause the brain, it really robs the brain of energy because now it has a toxic load it has to deal with instead of just transacting information.
They're saying that diabetes can actually rewire the brain similar to early onset Alzheimer's. Is that true?
Yes. What they're saying actually is that the brain is doing what's called neural pruning. If it doesn't have enough energy to function, it will start rewiring itself to only handle those functions that it can do. You know, when people have diabetes, they'll have lack of energy throughout the day. And this comes from, and stress is a big load on that. And what we know is that the liver controls 300 functions of the brain, but when you get a stress response, the liver dumps 25 grams of sugar as well into the system called glucagon, and then you have to create insulin to protect you. Your body creates insulin resistance, and this all affects the brain and cognitive load. So we can't think properly because the brain needs ketones, not sugar like we'd find in a candy bar.
Does that somewhat lead to dementia?
Well, yeah.
That was my takeaway.
Yes, as we age, actually, we have something called neural pruning. Our brain, unless we encourage the brain to have neuroplasticity, which means we do novel things, we have activity, we have social life, we get out in nature, we move and breathe, our brain will just keep unwiring itself, and dementia is part of it. And it's all really a measurement of the brain's voltage. When we were born, our brain was 18.1 volts. what we've seen in our studies here at BrainTap is that when the voltage drops below 7, you have dementia symptoms. And so the brain has to rewire because it doesn't have enough energy.
If somebody changes their diet, can they reverse this problem, or does it remain no matter what they do?
No, the great thing is that the literature is now showing that the brain will rewire itself. It's called neurogenesis. So we have to start eating foods that's why I think keto diets are becoming more and more popular, the Mediterranean diet, those kind of diets. These are diets that have the body producing ketones, which is a different kind of sugar that the brain needs to operate. Also, one thing they can do is they need essential fats. They can take 1 tablespoon of good quality olive oil, and that'll reduce the risk of dementia by 40%, and also drink half their body's weight in ounces of water with mineralized salt in it. And this will also help the brain to repair itself.
And you also have some daily habits to support mental sharpness, resilience, and purpose. Can you share some of those?
Yeah. Number 1, avoid coffee for the first 2 hours of awakening. Your brain actually shrunk 3/4 of an inch when you were sleeping, and it's dehydrated. It needs that water first thing in the morning. And if you exercise, do it first thing in the morning because all the sugar's in your muscles. It's the best time to build muscles. And muscles are going to make BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factors. And then after 2 hours, you can have your coffee, and then your cortisol levels are high, and you can make it to that 2 o'clock dip. And then start doing some movement. If you're sitting at the computer or you're sitting on your job for more than 20 minutes, they say it's equivalent to smoking a cigarette. And that's because your nervous system shuts down. Listen to some Baroque classical music, some relaxing music, and focus on your breathing. Breathing in, let's say you breathe into the count of 4, you're going to breathe out to the count of 8, and just let the stress melt away. Your body needs to recover from the stress. You can't avoid stress. We need stress to actually live and grow and prosper. So stress isn't the enemy. It's just we don't have enough recovery because we have stressful event after stressful event after stressful event.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Dr. Patrick Porter after this. You are watching American Medicine Today. Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati Spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented the precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati Spine procedures, they consistently reflect 98.75% patient satisfaction. 80,000 procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients have suffered from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail. Welcome back to American Medicine Today. We're continuing our discussion with Dr. Porter.
Tell us a little bit about your BrainTap.
Yeah, what we do at BrainTap is we have an app and we have a piece of hardware that actually trains the brain to rewire itself through light, sound, and vibration. It's called brainwave entrainment. We've actually shown that in dementia studies that 100% of the people after 6 weeks no longer have dementia because we're bringing energy to the brain through light, sound, and vibration. What we do is we have a technology problem out there. People are looking at screens, sitting all day long. We need a technology solution that can be scaled and taken across the world, and that's what we're doing at BrainTap.
And so apparently you have a 30-day plan to rewire your brain for energy, clarity, and joy. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, what we did, because the book is pretty complex, and so what we did is we broke it down into a 30-day plan where people can see, what do you do in the morning? What do you do in the afternoon? What do you do in the evening? But the reality is that we have to shut down the screens at night. We need to calm down before we go to sleep, get our news early, hopefully before 9 o'clock, because we want to be doing some fun things, maybe board games, doing puzzles, things like that in the evening that can kind of stress out your brain, but it's in a good way. But the brain can rebuild itself. Remember that. It's not all lost. We just have to start doing something today to fix that. If they go to braintap.com, they can actually do a 14-day trial where we're going to give you tips and tricks that you do for 14 days. If you don't like it, you just cancel it. It's all free.
All right. And what about frequencies? I keep seeing on social media, there are these frequency devices, and if you just listen, it's going to solve all your problems. Any truth to that?
Well, it's not going to solve all your problems, but that's what I started in 1986. I was the first person to ever create what's called the MC square. We do that with BrainTap. That's the frequencies we're talking about. Earth frequencies are 0.5 to 88, and we're used to getting them because we used to be out walking all day long. We go near a river or a lake, it's 10 hertz frequency. So our body has mirror neurons and will resonate to that frequency. It doesn't solve your problems. What it does is it puts you into a brain state where you can be more creative, relaxed, and comforting.
How long should you listen to frequencies?
Well, I always say the more the better, but at least a couple times during the day just to break it up. Think of it like the reason we have commercials is people can't keep their attention that long during a program. So they started selling those spots. So we need to, just like we might get bored with one TV show, then we watch another TV show. It's because our brain only has such an amount of capacity. So when you find you're at your capacity, when you feel stressed out, that's the time to do it, because you need recovery. What your brain's telling you is you need recovery right now. The brain never sleeps. And by the way, sleep is when you do the most neurological activity. So improving your sleep is what we do most importantly. That's the best time you can work on your brain fitness.
We're in trouble, Kimberly.
Maybe just before we go to bed, we have to listen to frequencies and then see how that works to help relax us. But thank you for sharing your insight with us. Dr. Patrick Porter, award-winning author and founder of BrainTap. Thanks for being on the show yet again.
Thanks, Doctor.
Thanks
for having me.
Bye-bye. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. If you would like to see previous shows of American Medicine Today, add American Medicine Today to your favorite streaming device. If you have any comments or questions, contact us at the numbers below. Or you can tweet at Dr. Bonati using the hashtag American Medicine Today or hashtag AMT. We would like to hear from you.